My name is Linda Castaldi, and I was the division chairperson of nursing.
And I'm Jim Castaldi, and I was an instructor mostly in the developmental area.
Tell us about your connection to NPC and when your journey began.
Let's see. I was hired by Bob Burns at the end of the first year. So technically, they've linked me with the first year faculty. We started at St. Gabriel's in, 74? And, taught in town and helped design this campus, and we're on building committees and all of those things.
And I came because of him. And
Best thing I did.
1974, the nursing program was an open admission program, and they admitted 106 people. And so with 106 people, and they had Georgia Buchanan, Charlotte Phelps building, Arlene Savella and Suzanne Bowden were the 4 faculty, and that wasn't enough faculty for 106 people. So they hired me away from the then St. Joseph Hospital. And I worked 2 years, and then I quit and had some kids and got my master's and did some things like that. And then I came back as faculty in 1980 part-time and full-time in 1984.
And at least for my part, I did a lot of little things. I have a master's in history, so I'd teach a history course, and for 3 years taught a course on Vietnam, taught intro to ed, taught geography, did student activities. If you look in the yearbook, we had a homecoming dance and Queens and all of that stuff in 1979. And it was fun looking through it because it surprised me, or I've forgotten how vibrant the campus was. And there must have been 20 different clubs going on at that time.
But we weren't here in 1974. We were downtown and teaching classes you weren't either. That first year, you were at St. Gabriel's.
Yeah.
So we were teaching all around the city, First Methodist Church and St. Gabriel's and Boys and Girls Club and the hospital. So we were everywhere.
And we did the crazy things that people would look at now and say, why'd you do it like that? We had paper registration in one day. People would line up. It was at Methodist Church.
Oh, well, I didn't do that.
But it was at Methodist Church, and people would line up 5:30 in the morning, and faculty would come, or Dr. Fisher would come and bring a dozen coffees to pass out to a few of them. And it wasn't too bad in the spring, in the fall, but in the winter it was pretty cold. And we still did one-day registration out here when it first opened. So it was a lot faster paced in some ways because it all had to get done that day. It was pretty exciting, I think, and it was fun in that, we were doing something new. And a bunch of us, 6 of us, 7 of us met yesterday, Barbara Briscoe and Joan Henry and Ken Cook and Roger Fox and Susan Davis and you and I and Gene Shelby, and we were all about the same age. So we were all excited about doing it, and we all were having kids at the same time, and the kids knew each other, and the kids are still in contact with each other. So it was a pretty exciting time.
We had our offices at the old Sawmill Depot train station, boarding house. So we had all those little train station rooms, so we all had a little office in there. And I said it was new, and so we had, other than me, we had very experienced nurses teaching. But we would write objectives on Friday of one week, and we'd teach them the next Friday. So that's, we were building that curriculum as we went, and so that was a interesting time, as you said. And we weren't accredited. We were a brand new program, and Denise Davis was our skills lab person for a while, and she's now in the foundation, former employee and that kind of thing. And so that was an interesting time. Experienced nurses who knew what our outcome was, but we were still learning about all those things that the educational world required for us to do to meet those. And then the college moved out, but nursing did not. We were still downtown doing our classes, and then we came out later. It was like in the early to middle 80s when we moved out to the Charlotte Phelps building. Much more experienced, accredited, much more aware of the requirements nationally. And that's one of the things that I think it's important for the nursing and healthcare is that we're such a needed field in our area, in our state, but we also meet national standards. So if you graduate from National Park College, then Garland County Community College, you could go anywhere in the United States and work as a nurse or a respiratory therapist or a medical lab tech. That was our second healthcare field. Okay. So was it's an important responsibility for faculty and for our students to have that awareness. And they said, well, is that going to be on the test? I'd go, well, I don't know, but it's going to be in the real world when you're a nurse, kind of thing.
So I had a question. So you said Charlotte Phelps, and then you put 2 and 2 together for me. Charlotte Phelps building, and she was part of the nursing. That building was made for nursing, and why do you think she got her name on the building, and what kind of person was she?
We did that.
That building was for nursing. It was designed, originally by Charlotte, and some of the nursing faculty had input. And we moved out here, and our offices were on the lower level, and our classrooms in the lab. That biggest room, which is now the Teaching Learning Center, was the nursing skills lab, and the back rooms then were the little mannequin. Back then, there was no electronics. It was a mannequin. But yes, and
Charlotte was a force.
She was a force.
She was a force. She made things happen.
And she was the director from in the 80s till 1993. So she was our program director, division chairperson. And she was then the director of nursing and health sciences. So she did. So all of those health science programs except respiratory, she started. And she was a force in the state. She was on state committees and state board and those kinds of things. She just role modeled the excellence. She helped lay that foundation of excellence in nursing that's still there today.
And she would get things done for nursing, but as she did it, she would be able to show you how it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for you. This is not just for us. Yes, it benefits us, but we're all going to go along, and this is going to be good for the whole campus. And after she died, we brought it up at faculty council and made the different rules now, but made the recommendation that we name the building the Charlotte Phelps Building, and it passed faculty council, and the board accepted it and realized they had to change the rules or it could get crazy, but that's how it became the Charlotte Phelps Building.
The faculty changed it.
The faculty changed it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. In 2003, that was another memory of writing the strategic plan and the mission of the college. In 2003, that's what we were working on, and that's also when the merger was occurring. So I was chair of that committee of that, writing the mission statement and the strategic plan with Dr. Luke Robbins, and we're bringing both campuses together. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I was used to being with the nursing faculty, and yeah, we could, not agree, but we were trying to get consensus of, maybe 12 or 14 people. And now we were trying to get consensus of, 100 and something people, maybe not that many. Seemed like it. But that same mission, learning is our focus, student success is our goal. That's this. I looked last night. That's the same mission that's there now. So look how well that has, served us. But and once we merged, then we had 2 different nursing faculties, LPN and RN, and then we looked at we needed to be together, so they started doing the capital campaign to raise money so that we could be together. And we were going to leave the Charlotte Phelps building to go to the Dirks, now named Dirks. We didn't know what its name was then, but the Nursing and Health Science building. So I was also involved with designing that building. And
that was not easy.
And
that came home a lot of nights.
Yeah, it was not easy. That was a 24-hour.
That was a 24-hour learning about acoustical tiles and all sorts of things that were not part of your. But.
And thank you to Brad Hopper and Jim Hale, because those were the two go-to people for me as division chair when we built that building. Oh my gosh! But we loved it. I mean, we moved into it, and it was how we imagined it. And part of the goal was, that we could all be together in the big auditorium, but also that we then had space that students could gather and be together and study or have social things. And so it benefited the whole.
It benefited the whole campus.
Until you had the Commons building,
Yeah.
That's where everything happened.
Yeah.
In the Dirks building and in the auditorium. I mean, I can't tell you how many events we had there. But back to Charlotte, so we're leaving that building, but I thought I couldn't imagine that she would be more pleased than to have a teaching learning center for faculty in the building in her honor, because she really was about faculty and about how, I used to say, I want to role model myself after her, have good people, put them in place and get out of the way. Let them do what they know best. And I would say that was the philosophy of the administration when we started in the early time.
Yeah.
They wanted
to hire good people. You have less problems in the long term, and just let them do their thing.
Can you tell us what sets MPC campus apart from other campuses?
Our life is here. That's what sets it apart for us. I mean, this is where we grew up as adults and had children, and our kids took classes here, when they were home for the summers. In a sense, this is where we invested our youth. It's almost like this is our home, because those important years were here,
I would think that it has to do with that mission, that learning is our focus and student success is our goal, and that even if you went back to when we first started the school, I mean, we talked about this story about the things the faculty did, and this is, in the late 70s and 80s, Paul Thomas,
Paul
Puff.
Thomas, yeah.
Somebody, he was, at a store, and somebody was talking about wanting to go to the college, and he said, what time do you get off? I'll come back and get you and take you
He
there.
picked her up and brought her to registration, and that was just sort of
and
the
then,
spirit.
And then there's this story that I tell about one of our grads, an older woman that worked at the chicken factory in Mena. And she came at that one-day registration that we talked about. And I talked to her. I don't remember that until she graduated from nursing. And she came to me and she said, I just wanted you to know you helped me so much. I did everything you told me. I went, well, I guess I told her the right thing, So that was the foundation, and that was still going on when we left.
I was sitting in my office one day, and Ken Cook was hardcore. That's a nice way, and people would not take Ken. Students wouldn't, because they were afraid of him. And I sat there one day and I listened. His office was 2 or 3 down from mine. And I was listening to him work with this young lady, and he was trying to show her something, and she just couldn't see it. So what I say is, he showed her this door, and it wouldn't open. And he showed her this door, and he showed her this door, and he showed her this door. And he finally found the door that opened for her. And he was so patient and kind and gentle in doing that. But students wouldn't sense that in his class, but it was just, I'm going to get you there. Just stick with me, and we'll find the door that opens.
And I think that foundation, when we started, when we left in 2014, and then yesterday when we're talking to Roger Fox about something, and something he said, and I thought, it's still there. It's still
Hasn't changed,
there
that
about
part.
how to, and it's harder. Technology makes it harder. The world makes it harder. But it's still there. That foundation is still there.
So what changes did you guys witness over your time here?
Look at the campus. We built this. If we weren't any good, we would have fallen flat. Hell only goes so far in that. But this came out of nothing. This was a field when we started. And we were scattered around town, and,
And there was this big ravine between us and the VOTEC.
Yeah.
And so, they built that too. They built those
bridges
between both of those campuses.
Is there any faculty or staff that have had a big impact on you?
I worked for 3 presidents, so I retired before Dr. Hogan arrived. I think I left and he came that summer. But I used to tell people, I said, I didn't always know what was going to happen, but it seemed like to me that the presidents that we had were the presidents we needed at that time. I don't think there was another person that could have gotten the college started in Hot Springs, Arkansas, but Gerald Fisher. I think he had that ability and it got the community to invest in the college. And then when Dr. Spencer came, things were just kind of in an uproar, and was part of that initiation of growing pains, and monetary things were unsettled throughout the state. And he really put us on a steadfast path for that. Yeah. And then Dr. Carter came right as, after the merger, and like I said, we had this big ravine physically between the 2 campuses, as well as metaphorically, that we were uniting. And I'm telling you, nursing was very, very difficult, in that. And her ability to create that atmosphere that we needed to grow, and then also to do the capital campaign, so that was the president we needed at that time. And
one other thing that Gerald Fisher did, he started basketball. And at that time, we only recruited from Garland County because we were a county. And we played we didn't have our own gym. So we played in every high school gym that we had either a young man or a young woman on the team playing. So those people at Fountain Lake could see Johnny, who played there last year, play, and so they would all come out, and we'd draw a crowd at Fountain Lake because Johnny was there. And then at Lake Hamilton 2 weeks later, so...
Talk about recruitment.
Yeah, talk about recruitment. But, these were all local kids that played against each other, and they were a good bunch of kids. And then we started playing down at the convention center. We played at Old Hot Springs High School for a year or 2, I believe. And then we started playing at the convention center, and they bought a portable floor. And Bill Randall, I think, who's in town, who taught biology and sciences, he had a team of students, probably work study students, I don't know, but they would put the floor down and take the floor up, as the convention center was needed for other things. But the athletics, Fisher thought, was a good way to reach sort of the outlying parts of the campus, of the county.
those are just memories of
Yeah.
people. I
Yeah,
mean, the
just
person
memories
that
of-
really
Yeah.
was my mentor and guide was Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I think, doesn't surprise you as a nurse that it was important to me in my career to have the ability to have an impact on people. And we did. We did it through education.
Do y'all have any funny or interesting stories y'all like to share?
Some years I tried to have an activity every Wednesday for 3 or 4 years, and it didn't work perfectly, but the goal was that there would be no classes at noon on Wednesday. So everyone would have access to the student activity. And this was done at Southwest Junior High at night. Jean-Michel Cousteau, Jacques Cousteau's son, and he spoke and did a slide presentation. We had William Kirtley speak, and he was one of the Iran hostages, and he was from Arkansas, and this was the first place he spoke. We had Say McIntosh, who was an activist in Little Rock, and then we'd try to have bands, and we would try to have them outside. And Ron Chester and Roger Rogers would cook hot dogs, and so, trying to draw a crowd.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary came. Bill was supposed to come, and he was governor, and he got tied up in some legislative thing. So Hillary came and spent about 30 minutes in my office with me drinking coffee. We sat and visited for 30 minutes, and I did not realize she was not prepared to come speak, because it just happened at the last. So she was picking my brain, and so many of the things that we'd talked about in my office, 20 minutes later, she's using them in front of this crowd. So that was pretty impressive. But we tried to have a lot of different things. And
well, it's the same thing when we talked about the 25th anniversary. Mm-hmm. We made plans and we did things. And we had a gala party at the Arlington Ballroom. And the maids...
they were dressed to the hilt.
And Teresa, they were glamorous. They had their
gowns.
Glitter on.
Yep.
It was so much fun. And I can't even tell you if we danced or ate or anything, but I just remember that we all gathered, and it was a fun time.
It was a good time.
It was memorable.
What do you guys hope to see for the future of MPC students?
Well, I hope the nursing program continues to be as wonderful as it has been, and that they continue to be successful on the licensure exam and in the employment field, that they have the opportunity to do whatever, their heart desires.
We need to find a way to reconvince people that trades, that skills are admirable ways to live your life. That everybody doesn't have to go to Fayetteville. That you can get what you need here. And we need more plumbers, and we need more heat and air people, and we need all of those things.
So what does the college turning 50 mean to you guys, and what do y'all think it means to the college?
I think it means to me that we did it right, and that as we evolved, we were making good decisions about people that we brought in, and whether it was our role modeling or whatever, they continued to do it right. So to be here 50 years is pretty cool. And I think it's also important, as Linda said, for the community, and I'll use your word, it's aspirational, that, and even if I can't go to Fayetteville and I'm in a funk, it's still here, and it's still good, because there are good people here.
Well, I'm proud of, obviously that's come through. I'm proud of the foundation that we laid for that. And I mean, Jim used to, back when our kids were in high school, and he said, whether you want to go to the college or not, the motto should be, don't leave home without it, that you have college credits when you leave.
Yeah, through your
Garland
school or
County.
through the summer or something. It's a wonderful thing to have. The community is lucky to have it.